Hello, everybody. I'm Jeff Lemieux, joined by our old friend, Taylor Twellman, who is here with us to preview Sunday evening showdown between the New England Revolution and Columbus SC. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. Taylor, how are you, my friend?
Good. I kind of like the rhythm you and I had in the playoffs. It was big games. It was kind of fun, wasn't it?
Hey, if you want to chat with me every week, we can make that arrangement.
We could if you want to, but then we may lose viewers on this program. So
yeah, and we don't have a ton of viewers in the first place, so we don't have a whole lot of viewers to spare. All right. Well, on Sunday, you will be, as always, alongside John Champion for the call of this game. You're calling it from the ESPN studios in Connecticut, but Taylor, defending MLS Cup champs coming into Gillette Stadium, how much would you have loved to have been in the building for this one?
Don't get me started right now, Jeff. It's like, here we are, you and I talking literally an hour ago. The CDC just announced that apparently masks are completely unnecessary now if you're vaccinated, which is a completely different topic. Yeah, so I'm actually going to drive 3 times further to Connecticut to call this game. I wish I was there. I am desperately waiting to be in that stadium for that first game. And Lord knows, Jeff, I don't know if I'll lose my voice because I'm going to be a little amped up to not be in a studio calling a game for once.
Have you ever actually called a game from the booth at Gillette?
I did. U.S. Brazil played there. We did an Open Cup game there during Jay Heaps' tenure. And I want to say there was one more that I did, but yeah, it's eerie to say the least. But that was a long time ago. Now it's like, yeah, I kind of want to go there because I can then go home and sleep in my bed very quickly.
I think the only silver lining is to get to the broadcast booth at Gillette Stadium, you got to walk through the crowd. So I think you would have had to start walking through that crowd about 3 hours before the game, or you wouldn't have gotten there in time because you're getting stopped by pretty much everybody walking through that crowd.
You know me, I would have waited an extra hour just so John Champion would experience that once with me.
It's pretty special. I've gotten to experience it. It is very special. All right, talking about this game, it's a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Final, a game won by Columbus 1-0 en route to lifting the MLS Cup trophy. And Taylor, of course, players, they're always diplomatic when they talk about this. They say it's not about revenge. It's a new season. It's in the past. It's a fresh start. But you were a player. You've been in these scenarios where you get knocked out of the playoffs by a team and then you play them again the following season. Will last year's Eastern Conference Final at all be a motivating factor for Revs players on Sunday?
Of course it is. Of course it is, especially for the core group of players, right? And so the Carlos Teals, the Gustavo Bows, the Buxes of the world, the Andrew Farrells, absolutely. So you're going to be, it is a new season. I get all of that, but the core group of players, that's all you're thinking about, right? The disappointment that you had, you could have almost hosted MLS Cup with the way it was. You would have ended up going to Seattle for what it's worth, but still you look at the way it was and you say, you know what, that we were that close. We were that close. And is this team better than us? You go through all of those things. So they're going to say one thing publicly, but privately, absolutely, they're thinking about the disappointment of last year.
You mentioned they were close. This is a Revolution team that in 2020 was on the verge, and you called most of that playoff run on ESPN and ABC as the Revs got to the Eastern Conference Final. So you saw this Revs team quite a bit. They are hoping in 2021 to take that next step to legit contender. That's a big step. It feels like maybe the most difficult step to go from good team to legit contender. Tell me why the Revs could potentially take that step this year.
Well, one is Carlos Teal. If he's healthy the entire year, you've got arguably the top 5 best playmakers in this league. I've said this on the record, and I'll say it again, Jeff. I think if he stays healthy, could be the best player to ever wear a Revolution uniform. And so, but he's got to stay healthy naturally. And so it's a long year. Gustavo Bo has been in and out of the lineup. Books has got to be a little bit more efficient with his chances. The numbers would show that. And then you've got this like revelation of Buchanan at right back that we saw last year, which was part of the excitement of you and I talking, and that evolution of a player and what he's turned into. They've got the pieces to do it. Now, whether or not they pull together, that's the biggest question, because the team I saw play against Philadelphia, it was good. But in this league, Jeff, it's fine margins to become good to great, right? And we look at what LAFC, aesthetically, they may be the best team to watch throughout the year. they struggle to get results. And so it's a fine line for the Reds to go from good to great. They're going to contend. They're going to be in the thick of things in the Eastern Conference. Carlos Gil has to stay healthy. Gustavo Bo needs to score 14 plus goals. And if Buxa can find you 10 goals, now all of a sudden you're looking at a three-headed monster that a lot of teams do not want to play. But fitness is a huge part of two of those guys, and that's Bo and Gil.
Well, and as the Revs look to put all that together, they look to make that jump to contender status. One of the teams in front of them that they kind of measure themselves against is going to be this Columbus team, defending MLS Cup champs team that knocked them out last year. Caleb Porter's side, obviously off to a little bit of a slower start in the league as they've had a bit of focus on CONCACAF Champions League, understandably. But is Columbus the standard in the East? Is this the team that Eastern Conference teams, for sure, are measuring themselves against?
See, Jeff, it's interesting. I've from the beginning, I've said no. And the reason why is, one, Kevin Molino's not healthy. We have no idea when he's going to get healthy. We knew that in the offseason he was going to struggle with hamstrings. You lose Aiden Morris. I know it's a young player, but he really looked the part and was going to free up Nagby and Artur and Zella Ryan and give them a little bit more depth to be flexible with that. But when you look at Caleb Porter's entire career, Jeff, entire career in Major League Soccer, he's won 8 games on the road. 8. Think of
I would not have guessed that.
That's an absurd number. And so Columbus is going to have to find a way to get results on the road until they get into their new stadium. Do I think they're in the top 4 of the East? Yes, I did, until the Aiden Morris injury throws them for a loop a little bit. Kevin Molino's got to get healthy, as I've said. And so it's an interesting team. Do I think they're the cream of the crop? No, I don't. I think CONCACAF Champions League coming into the year was going to hurt them. I was right. Now they look slow. You know, Caleb's one that wants results right away. And so pressure's going to be building, especially this Sunday. I watched their game midweek. They get Zardes back. He's obviously a huge part of their attack going forward. But those heavy legs, Jeff, you and I have done many a years where CONCACAF Champions League throws a massive wrinkle into the teams that don't have enough depth. And the question for Caleb right now is, do they have enough depth? And I don't know if they do.
With all that said, obviously Columbus got the better of the Revs in the playoffs last year, and you called that Eastern Conference final. So that was obviously when the Revs saw their season come to an end. As you mentioned, they're going to be thinking about that on Sunday. Based on that game last year, because that's the only game that we saw these two teams square off last year, what needs to be different on Sunday for the Revs to get the better of this Columbus team this time around?
There's got to be a little bit more connectivity between Gustavo Bo and Carlos Gil. And especially when possession is won, because Columbus in that playoff game, and it's a staple of what Caleb Porter likes to do, is he likes to take the sting out of the game a little bit with possession. So when you do get possession, you've got to be very efficient in finding your playmakers and trying to expose them. They were not good enough in that area. It was very methodical. It was lethargic. And I didn't see enough from Carlos Gil and Gustavo Bo together. When those two are together, Jeff, they're as lethal as anybody. And then it opens the game for Buxa. But if you cannot open the game for Buxa, he's fairly easy to mark out of a game. Yes, he's going to be dangerous in the air and maybe play well with layoffs and knockdowns or whatever it may be. But he's not going to be as efficient if Bo and Gil are running off of that. And then you look at Buchanan and you've got guys in wide areas. They've got to be more efficient and a little bit more urgent in when they win possession in finding Carlos Gil further up the field and in more dangerous spots, because you can catch Columbus out of position, but it's all about timing. If you don't, Caleb does a wonderful job with this group of making sure collectively they're supporting in and around the ball. Now you're dealing with 6-7 defenders around you very quickly.
All right. Well, looking forward to this one on Sunday. Taylor, thanks for taking the time, man. I mean, put me to shame a little bit with the jacket. I'm rocking a hoodie. I mean, every time.
Yeah, but you look cooler, and I'm not wearing any pants.
Yeah, I mean, but why would you be? Why would you be when we're on a Zoom call? That's fair enough. Awesome. Taylor, all right, we look forward to hearing you on the call Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. And then we look forward to getting you back out to Gillette Stadium in person as soon as possible.
With pants on.
Yes.